day employees, and my name is Dima, and I'm a chemical engineering student.
My name is Shahad. I'm also a chemical engineering student.
My name is Zoe. I am a data analytics major.
My name is Fidel. I'm an information systems major.
Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm an information systems major as well.
My name is Maniac, computer science major.
And here we're going to be talking about food waste reduction in households. So our objective is that we're trying to reduce food waste in households, specifically in the US, by designing an app called My Fridge, which will help to reduce spoilage of food in the fridge, which will also give customers incentives to promote engagement.
Hey man, you want something to eat? Yeah, let me see what I got in here. This looks...
Dude, how long has this been in your fridge?
a couple weeks, maybe?
Dude, you gotta stop wasting food like this.
At First Day Employees, our mission is to build a sustainable tomorrow to feed data of our future.
Did you know that 1 billion of people across the world are hungry? And then here's a fact. Every day, around 16,000 children die from hunger-related causes. We know that hunger is the most extreme form of poverty where individuals and families cannot afford to meet the most basic needs for food. Here's a question for you guys. Have you ever been to the store to buy something that you need and ended up buying a lot of unnecessary things along with that?
Alright, so in this graph, we're showing the trend of the food waste in the US only. So the trend is going up very quick from 1960 to 2020. It's really a launching, so we have to care more about food waste that affect the environment. So in the next slide, there's the 11% of food waste come directly from the household. And in US specifically, is the highest, one of the highest countries that has the most food waste compared to other regions in the world. And some of the reason that we waste so much food is that come directly from the refrigerator.
So what are the top foods that are being wasted? So if we look at this chart, we see fruits and vegetables, dairy, and meat. What do all these have in common? They're all foods that we store in our fridges. So what is the solution? How can this app solve this problem? Well, for starters, it will help by keeping an inventory list. So if you scan your receipt, take a picture of it, or input data manually, you'll have all that information on hand and know exactly what you have and avoid overbuying items you don't need. You'll also have the app that will explain the information about data labels. One of the things is that a lot of people don't understand the data labels, and it'll help to promote education on that and help consumers understand how to not spoil how the food goes bad. Data analytics is also a big thing that we're pushing for to promote algorithms that will develop analysis on what you buy regularly and send recommendations on stuff that you might possibly like.
Alright, so this is the prototype we came up with. If you go to the App Store, there are competitors that have something similar. However, they are missing one key aspect, the expiration date. It's really hard to keep track of your food if it's expiring. It might stay there forever because a user has to update, input data manually. So we kind of took that out of the equation by taking a photo of your receipt and having the app in-house take care of that aspect. So here's the user interface, you take a picture, and then this tab is our main feature, expiring soon. You can see everything that's going to expire and plan accordingly. And it'll send you a reminder like this So 1 pound beef to expire on Tuesday, invite friends for Taco Tuesday, you know? And one of the things we really wanted to highlight was the adaptable design, customization, incentives, as well as education. So right here, you can turn on or off the rewards program. And this also opens the app for partnerships. So companies such as Whole Foods have green stewardship. So this is their program to try to reduce waste. You can also receive tips about the science of food. So it'll tell you like, why does my milk spoil so easily? It might be because you have your temperature too low on the fridge. And another thing, like customization, light or dark, a very important feature in my opinion. I'm personally a dark girl.
Which brings us to our final topic, feasibility. How does an app create revenue? How do you sustain it? What's the cost to develop it? So as a computer science major, I know that developing an app can take an average about 5 to 6 months. There's a lot of planning, designing, scripting, testing, prototyping, crazy stuff like that. You have to test it on multiple software such as Android, Apple App Store, if you decide to do a PC implementation, crazy things like that. And you also have to consider, so the data that's being stored on this app, such as your food preferences, how often do you buy, stuff like that. Where do you want to store it? Do you want to store it in an in-house server, or do you want to store it on what's growing right now, the cloud system, AWS, I think it's Microsoft, and there's also, I believe, Google doing the whole cloud system. So you have to consider stuff like that, security, what's the price for having an IT team to run your server at home or at a business compared to having it on the cloud and letting them manage the IT, security, something important. Fun fact, NMSU gets, I guess hackers try to hack into NMSU servers. I'm gonna throw it out there about 1 million times a month. Actually, I thought that was pretty crazy when I found out. So security is very important, especially if you're considering keeping user information there. And then, so ROC, return on capital, how are you going to sustain this? There's 3 things that I thought about, and I hate it, but ads. We all freaking love ads, don't we, right? We love them? I hate them. So, I mean, if you don't want to have ads, guess what? Memberships. You know what? For membership, $3 a month, no more ads for you. $5. If you're a business, hey, we have business plans. If you want to implement, let's say, a group application for the app. So you have a business, director, vice president, whatever, minions. Sorry about that. Brain fart. Employees, and they all want to, hey, I want some cookies, I want some chips for the lunchroom and stuff like that. Just send a request to the app, the manager or who approves it, so forth. That's where you can throw a business membership in there, a little stipend, a little higher price. And how do you get people to recognize the app and know it's there? Collaboration. Get to know companies such as the Food Network. Hey, Taco Tuesdays. You get a pull request from the server. Food Network has a pretty good dish on tacos for the app. Pull it down, say it's from Food Network. Hey, they're reputable. They're pulling information from important people or important companies, or even better, we're targeting millennials up to Gen Z. Where do they spend most of their time? On their phones. So let's collaborate with some social media influencers. What food do they make? What can we buy? Stuff like that. So help us, let us build a sustainable future. One apple at a time.
Any questions, suggestions?
All right, judges, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions, starting with one per judge. Yes, Dr. Rice.
So I'm working on a very similar project, but with all change. And so, but a way to do this, we are actually using Internet of Things to monitor things. Because how are you collecting the data here? Have you discussed those things? Are you manually input the data in there from the customers? How do you make sure that they don't make mistakes and then you're actually collecting the right data?
The easiest solution for that was the receipt, like just scanning the receipt, or online, you know, where you could just input data from, like if you do online shopping, or yeah, manually. But that's more if you don't have like a smart fridge, or if you just buy your groceries the old-fashioned way, as I like to say.
I think that we talked about too is partnering with Walmart, because I know a lot of companies, consumers like the green aspect, you know? So I think big companies will be motivated to partner with something like this, because then they would say, oh, they're taking a green initiative, so we can get the data from their shopping, implement it into the system, and they wouldn't have to be any transfer. It would come directly from the source if they order groceries from Walmart or from different places like that.
We have a question down in the machine. I wanted to piggyback on the data, that's fine. So one thing with Dr. Vice saying, how are you collecting it? The first thing I thought was, when you brought up the fee for the tacos, it's Taco Tuesday. Do you tell the app when you throw away stuff, how does it know what you have left? And could you have a way of scanning or taking pictures of what food is in the fridge to collect that data? And then you said the Walmart thing, I thought, maybe not partnering, but selling your data, because there's a lot of people that use that for machine learning or Walmart, and you have all these apps and you can prop up that. But anyway, so how do they know when food is thrown away?
Okay, so the way I guess we were thinking of other projects like further down the line once we got away from the whole prototype or initial development. But eventually, like we said, artificial intelligence or machine learning will start getting the trends of how long usually food lasts in the fridge during a certain temperature. So if the temperature fluctuates, then they'll know that the food is going to expire either quicker or longer. It's going to take a little bit longer to expire. That's information that just can be sent to a server. I was thinking of maybe storing this data using SQL or anything like that, where the main user can just read or write to the server, and other people on some of the application can only read from the information. And that way they can just have control over that data and keep this integrity in control.
Yeah, that's a good question. What comes to mind for me is that manufacturers actually have 3 different ways of showing dates. One is sell by, the other one is best by, and another one is some kind of an expiration date. I say some kind because even salt sometimes, like table salt, they never expires. Even 100,000 years, and honey never expires.
Yeah.
There's been honey from excavated 2,000-year-old honey that still doesn't expire. So how do you deal with all this data that some of it is real, some of it is okay?
Well, that's where the machine learning will come into play. So after repeated attempts and so forth, data, you'll start noticing the trends. Kind of like Starbucks does with us, that they know more or less what kind of coffee we're going to want the next day. This happens to me. I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, you know what, I want coffee. And then I'll just pop it.
You're going to need good lawyers.
With Dr. Garcia too, but it made me think of liability because FDA says shelf life, right? So salt, you need to have shelf life even if it lasts forever. But then your app goes and contradicts that.
Well, the good thing with computers is they're all if statements. So I mean, if it's reaching a point where you're like, hey, that's already too long, you just implement a rule and be like, after this time, shelf life expires.
That's where you get the user agreement into play also.
Dr. Clemens.
Why would you want to pitch this as a separate app? I would think it'd be like something that could integrate, like you say, Albertsons or a Tasman, which is enough work from my perspective. And now you think someone might buy
One of the reasons we chose it to be more into, well, we could say as a separate thing, was because so it can be more accessible. So not only if you use Whole Foods, for example, you're gonna need to use it for that. So you can use it for Walmart, Amazon, you know.
Another thing is, one of the steps we wanted to implement a shopping list, and we wanted to cut the middleman. There's a lot of, apart from the 11% that gets wasted in households, 14% in transit. And that's something we didn't look at in the project, but 14% adds up to a lot. So you can cut the middleman and just have distribution centers kind of like Amazon does, where you can get order, get your food in a few hours or so. Even and just cut the middleman, no need to go to Walmart, considering the whole cashier thing with COVID and everything going on. Just order the distribution sends it to you 1 day to pay. You get your food.
Dr. Yates.
So for inputting data, in addition to the receipt, you could consider like scanning like the UPCs and things like that. There's probably some kind of databases that if you were to partner with the grocery stores and stuff, they would have all of the all that in the database and stuff. I'm trying to think about for the removal of the items and like throwing away or spoil or something.
We did actually.
You could have like a button or something.
So like, it was actually suggested by one of our audience members that when the food is about to expire, you could perhaps take it to like a composting organization or something like that. And you could also gain points within the app for doing something like that.
To get customer, user, I guess, interaction or incentives. So if your food's about to expire, maybe consider donating to a shelter or anything such as that. And maybe just acquire a few points that you can put in your coupons or maybe into your next purchase or something like that.
And would you have a mechanism in there where users can manually update their inventory?
Yeah.
To like manually add subtract items?
Only once they purchase it from the receipt, probably would be a better solution to control. Because once I consider the incentives of doing that, then somebody can say, I just bought like 100 packs of meat and I'm going to act like they're expiring. And then they can just, I guess, cheat the system and get unlimited amount of points. That's something to have to consider.
Okay, so maybe a way to manually delete things but not to add them.
Yeah.
And monitoring and seeing.
Maybe just using the whole receipt system or the receipts that they charge. Because if you're going to consider also buying online, they give you an invoice to use and stuff.
Dr. Perez, did you have a question? Or no, it's that solution.